All right, good evening, everybody. This is the Board of Commissioners meeting for the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority. The date is April 23rd. The time is now 6:11. I call the meeting to order. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First agenda item this evening is our board review of our minutes from our meeting from March 26th. Is there any board discussion?
I move we accept our board minutes from the last meeting.
Hey, Mr. Bruyere has moved to accept the board minutes from the last meeting. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Second by Ms. Jackson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That carries. Second agenda item this evening is our financial report. Any board discussion?
Shalom, any discussion about our finances and how we...
Have the last month that they're trying to work on and hopefully have finished no later than next month, so we can get our audit done.
So, Housing Solutions still has
Correct,
stuff out for us?
correct. They have July, August, and September for ACV. Low rent is completed.
Okay, has our new folks started anything like this fiscal year and say, have they completed anything?
I have a meeting with her on Thursday to see the setup. Thursday, after I get off the phone with her, because we just started preparing everything, we'll start sending it over.
Ms. Prevost, in regard to the financials, have they made any progress more than our last board meeting? Because it does look like at the last board meeting, that we did have all of the low rent information already for the fiscal year ending. And the housing choice was up until April. So have we received any?
Should have been up until May, because they sent me June, so that's what we have in the packet, June.
So we've gotten one more month?
Yes,
And so we need until through September to be
correct.
completely current. All right, so in 1 month's time, they've completed one, possibly two additional months.
The problem is, it's a different system with July through September, and it wasn't as simple to read as the previous software we had. So that's what she's having a problem with.
I know, I mean, this organization has just given us excuses and excuses for
We're making it,
a long time, so.
trying to give it all ABC style for as simple as we can.
All right.
My next thought was then, considering all of that, is there going to be some point where we can say the end of the fiscal year is done, HSA, again, when they do their first month, that we can say, here's where one stopped, here's where the other one started. I would like to be able to compare with those numbers, or whatever someone ended with to see what someone began with, and then hopefully going forward, it could be steady where you can actually track the numbers going forward.
I'm more than sure they need that last month in order to start their new month.
I got you on that. So do they have at least invoices and stuff starting the new
If who does? New,
The
beer
new
company?
company we're hiring,
Not yet, because,
so they have no invoices from us at
no,
this
but
point.
like I said, we have everything ready to send to them.
So when are they gonna get invoiced to start the new fiscal year?
Like I said, I have a meeting with her on Thursday. Thursday, she gonna let me know how she want everything sent, what all she needs sent, so we can start sending it Thursday.
Okay, all right, got that. And we have all of low rent invoices, financials done, and it's Section 8, and then we'll be whatever that balance or whatever number is.
Correct.
We'll be able to go to new people, here's their ending number, here's your beginning number, and then hopefully we flow steady forward where we as a board can literally track what's happening
Yes.
financially. That's the goal.
That's the goal. You're right, that's the goal.
All right, just want to make sure we're on the same page, so I'm hoping in that time frame that you're gonna come to the board and say, here's our ending, here's our beginning, and we can, I won't say start fresh, but here's our new numbers, and collectively, we track what's happening.
Yes.
And then to make note, also, the new company will be roughly 1 year behind from the start, based on the dates.
And they know
So-
this, I think they're willing to put in the extra work to catch us up.
Mr. Bouye?
Does the current or former company, do they understand the urgency of getting this back?
I thought they did, but this is the second year they done did this. So that's why we're going with another company.
Right, but maybe we need to keep following up with them and just, yeah.
Talking
How
to
often do you talk to them?
one of them just about every day now.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, any additional board discussion regarding financials? Does anyone from the board wish to take action?
Chair, I move that we will accept, at least into the record, what we have in front of us right now, this June 23 Section 8 financial statement from Housing Solutions Alliance.
All right, Mr. Woods has moved that we accept the financial report that's before us this evening through July 2023. Do we have a second?
A second.
It was second by Mr. Brouillet. All in favor?
Aye.
That carries. The next agenda item this evening is our low rent and HCVP expense reports. Any board discussion? Ms. Prevost?
That was all for y'all to look at. Let's start with the VMS.
Okay.
All right. With the VMS, with port outs. We paid $57.57. All other vouchers, we had 237, and the half of that was $222,463. The portable vouchers we only paid on 3. The total vouchers was 240 after the first of the month. That amount was 230,127. ACV vouchers numbers under lease have contract on the last day of the month. That was 241. We have 12 vouchers that were out but not leased up. We have 10 vouchers for port-ins, and that amount is $10,382 a month.
So our
But,
port-
huh?
Just for clarification, our port-ins, we're collecting at least $10,000, is that what you're saying?
Right now, it's about 8. We can talk to the other agencies, and they will
Oh, okay.
catch up their payments.
I think you said 8, all right, okay.
But that's how much it totaled.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Our ACV fraud recovery, we collected $2,253.
I've been asking this question for a while, too. So what did somebody do that we collect $2,000? So what happened? What situation?
With the fraud,
Yes, yeah.
they're not reporting all of the income. We tell them they have 10 days to report all income. If they don't report it, HUD have a report showing who haven't reported what, and we have to go after that money because we paying more half than what we should have. And out of that, we get half the recovery.
So people who are in our system, whatever, are not giving us full stuff, and
Thinking they can get away with it.
how, curiosity, so how do we get it back? What do we do?
Like I said, HUD have a list of everybody that's not paying what they should or not underreporting income. What we do, we bring them in, let them see it, calculate how much that they owe, ask for 10% down, and then we put them on a monthly plan.
So pretty much, basically, for understand, the federal government can see really what you're making, what you're not telling us, and they say, here's
Yes.
what you should be telling
Yes.
us. Gotcha. All right. Good deal. I think that's the first time I finally got to the bottom of what's really happening.
Okay, for the non-MTW administrative fees was $10,000. ACV unrestricted net position, the last day of the month was $299,121. The restricted net position fund, last day of the month was a negative $110,773. And the cash investment of the last day of the month was $200,591. That's it for your VMS.
Just a question.
Sure.
I don't remember the whole acronym means and the whole substance of the thing. I think, and Webb, you probably gonna know what this term, or at least the acronym. Our MENOR, that monthly net expendable, basically meaning how much money you have to pay, if something come up, at least you have enough money to last 3 or 6 months. What's that number?
I don't know the exact number, but we're not where we don't have enough money. We have money in the reserve for at least 2 months, 3 months. Each month, it goes beyond. So we have enough money.
Generally, you're
Cover.
saying, generally, you say we have enough money in-house right now for 2 months, 2 or 3 months?
Well, I mean, besides what they give us, I'll see a little more.
Okay. I got you, and I'm hearing what you're saying, but then there's that whole calculation that goes with that.
I will get you the minority number.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, oops, sorry about that. ACV monthly report. For port out searching, they have 5, 1 for Jefferson, 1 for Kenner, and 3 for St. Charles. Port out leased up, they have 9, 1 for St. Bernard, 6 for St. John, 1 for Kenner, that's this right here. This one here, this.
All right.
Got it.
Thank you, ma'am. Gotcha.
Port house leased up paying, that's the ones we are paying for. 1 for St. Bernard, 6 for St. John, 1 for Kenner, and 1 for Wichita. Port ins leased up that we are billing for, we have 3 for Kenner, 1 for Jefferson, 1 for Hanover, 1 for Denver, 1 for Fayette, 2 for Thibodeau, 1 for Harris County, and 2 for St. John. We have port-ins. We don't have any port-in searching. We have 3 people that was EOP'd.
They got places? better places to live?
I guess one halved out, that mean they was able to pay all their rent.
Oh, okay, good, that's
We
a
had-
good thing.
One for family obligations, broke family obligations, and one abandoned the unit. Payments as of March 31st was $258,220. The HAP and the UR was $242,115 for outgoing, $5,957, and for incoming at $10,148. As far as the wait list, we pulled about 12 people off the wait list. For low rent, we have 49 units leased up. That's not including the ones just moved in this month.
So that's out of that 14 that we had? You said it's not including people who just moved in.
We have, that goes to the next month, so it's gonna go up higher, because we have more people moving in. We're trying to get all of them that we had, we're trying to get all of them filled.
And that's, my question was, and that's the 14 that we refurbished, is that still some of those?
Yes.
Okay, all right, okay.
For the wait list, she mailed out 4 5-bedroom vouchers, 15 2-bedrooms, 6 3-bedrooms, 4 4-bedrooms. Maintenance had 8 work orders. In case y'all didn't hear, we had one of our units catch a fire. She made it out because she seen it when it started, so, and got the neighbor out on the other side. We got her in touch with Red Cross, Catholic Charities to help her out, and we moved her into another unit that we had available. With,
No. Do we know what was the cause?
I'ma say it was about the electrical, where the air conditioner was plugged. But we haven't gotten a full thing from the fire department. We have 10 days, they say.
I've been curious about that too.
So when did it happen, today?
Friday,
Friday?
yes. And the insurance adjuster came out today to take a look at it.
On the, can I stop you? On the maintenance, I recall last month you said there were 40, whatever, work orders that were done and said they were done well. And this month there were 8 of them. What's been the nature of, what's been going on? What's
It's
been
a minor thing,
happening?
a light not working here, the refrigerator, they say it's not working. Tub not flowing, stopped up toilet, those kind of things, nothing major.
Okay. No emergency situations?
Now, we have
or-
one where the, heater wasn't working, but when they went to go get the parts, it's obsolete,
Yeah.
so.
Gotcha. Any about the any of those work orders where we had to call out a professional to do something?
Probably electrician,
Okay.
yeah, and plumber, the usual.
Yeah. All right.
All right, did the board have any action they were taking on low rent and HCVP expense report or the VMS report? All right. Did you have any further updates, Ms. Prevost?
Yes. I will need y'all next week to see if y'all can kind of do like an emergency meeting amongst yourselves so we can get this RFP with the painting of the units started.
Okay.
I have to go back and collect some more information from the 3 companies that applied. And once I do that and we grade them, then we will come back to y'all and let y'all know, because it's over $100,000.
We've already advertised for,
Yes.
okay. So it's literally just accepting one of the bids?
Correct.
All right. Any additional board comments?
I don't know if she's planning to discuss,
Yes.
but this.
That is about FIRE's last year. HUD is putting us on a recovery plan. They're not quite through drafting up everything because of the streamline conversion. They want to include all that, and y'all know once the conversion is accepted, we won't have a FIRE score anymore. But they are getting together a recovery plan for us, and they're gonna send it to us. Once they send it to us, y'all would have to look at it and agree to it.
I got what you're saying, so, but what have they found that they've reported to us that we need to remedy? And, like, what are they saying that we need to do?
She just told me, just keep doing what we're doing.
That doesn't sound reasonable.
Well, I mean, like, as far as those annual plans wasn't in, they're done. We're getting ready to do the 2024 one. About to do the notice for that, the 45-day notice for public hearing. A lot of things that, like this corrective action plan, that would have something to do with this too.
Is that something like being under a consent decree or something? Is that what they're saying? Here's what we found wrong with you, and we're gonna develop some action. HUD will develop some actions that we need to take. Is that what they're saying to us?
There we go.
Almost like I didn't think the thing. Yeah.
Good evening, Commissioners. Shelley Smith with Circular Consulting. I'd just like to add a couple of points as relates to HUD and their findings. There were essentially two processes that occurred where HUD came back and made recommendations to the Housing Authority. The first was a compliance review that HUD conducted, I want to say it was May, correct, Ms. Yolanda?
Yes.
In May of 2023. And they actually delivered a report that listed several findings and recommendations. And from that point, the Housing Authority put together a corrective action plan. The issues that were identified during that review were primarily compliance findings, and we have been working with Ms. Prevost and the team, and of course with the board, in putting policies in place and ensuring that all of those compliance measures were addressed. The second process was a FOS review, and the Housing Authority did not pass that FOS review. The score was approximately 18, and the agency would need 60 points in order to have standard performance under FOS. So what that letter on March 27th did, it addresses the FOS performance. And basically, when an agency is labeled as or designated as troubled under FOS, then typically there is an agreement between HUD and the Housing Authority, which basically states the activities and recommendations that need to be implemented in order for the agency to be removed from the troubled designation. And so that is the agreement that is pending between HUD and the Housing Authority. We've made substantial progress on the compliance side with all of the corrective actions that have been implemented over the last 6 months or so. But there are still some areas that we are working on, the finance area, physical deficiencies that still do need to be corrected. Those are the main areas that HUD is saying, you know, you need to continue to work on these areas so that over the next 2 cycles, and these are FOS review cycles, you will bring the agency back and remove the troubled status that you're currently in.
A couple of questions on back up. I did read that too. You said 2 FOD cycles, so my mind didn't buy into that. That 2 cycles to recover, that's something HUD has said it takes this amount of time, or we're just taking that amount of time?
That is basically the amount of time that HUD looks at when an agency is designated as troubled. They pretty much set a barometer of 2 FOS reviews. And
Just
typically.
to recover from?
Yes.
To recover from.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
So.
And there's a complicated formula that they actually look at that stipulates the amount of points that they expect the agency to achieve on the first review. They're saying this agency needs to move from, well, and I can read this formula to you, but bottom line, it says that the agency needs to potentially achieve a score of 40.
Where could we, as a board or whatever, that you said that complicated formula or that information that HUD says, here is what you have to meet. Where is that? Where could a lay person could say, hey, let me sit down and read and see exactly what HUD is expecting?
I can read it to you now, and we can send it to you, because there's a general template that HUD uses.
Oh.
And so that's how they get the calculation. But that calculation is going to be embedded in the agreement between the Housing Authority and HUD. It will lay out very specifically for this agency what the scoring needs to look like for the first FOS inspection and then for the second FOS inspection. The numbers that HUD provided to the Housing Authority were given to the Housing Authority when the agency was designated as troubled. In that letter that HUD, provided to the Housing Authority, basically they said, year 1, we anticipate that the Housing Authority will reach a score of 40, and then on the second year, the agency will become a standard performer by achieving a score of 60 or more, because 60 is the standard score, standard performer
so
score.
as HUD looking at us right now, as of this letter dated March 27, even though prior to March we've made some improvements, per se, still categorized with HUD, we have enough outstanding situations that we are going to be under this mandate from them. So we still have some stuff that's not right with HUD.
Right. Actually, HUD is saying that we have made some improvement. There was an interim score that was provided to the Housing Authority that showed, I think, an increase of 6 points, so that this last score showed a total of 24 versus the 18. So there has been some increase. There's going to be some additional increases as Ms. Prevost, she's gotten approval on those 70 units that were initially.
I did see that in our report.
That's going to be pretty significant in terms of impacting the scores, because those units, as you know, have been vacant for some time, and the operating dollars have not continued to flow to the agency. So with that major approval, and I know Ms. Yolanda is sighing over there because there was quite a bit of work that had to happen with HUD to get those units approved. So they have been approved. That's going to impact the scoring quite significantly.
Also, they did not come in and do an inspection like they normally do. So once they come in and do that, hopefully that's why I'm trying to hurry and get them units painted. Then that probably will bring the score up also.
Right.
So, per this letter, and I really want to get to understand this, per this letter, we still have some issues with HUD. And I remember last week you and I talked, Ms. Yolanda, you said you were going to have a conversation with I think it's Andy on here or someone. What was that conversation like? And we're still waiting for the specifics of what we need to do?
That's what she said,
Yeah.
that we are interim now. See, just keep doing what we are doing. We headed so much in the right direction.
I get that. So are we going to be able to, when HUD does it, identify what we still outstanding, and then that information get passed along to us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I wanted to also say that that score that HUD recently sent, where we increased by 6, the number 6, it is an interim score. They did not come out and physically do an inspection, but they did indicate, based on the occupancy information that they're reading in their system, they did indicate that there has been some improvement on the management side. So once that inspection formally takes place, we believe that we're going to see some further improvement. The letter that they sent on the 27th of March indicates the improvements that are needed in 3 major areas: governance, physical, and finance. And as a matter of fact, there was quite a bit of compliment in the first section under governance, where it does show and talk about the collaborative efforts between the board and the St. Charles Parish government. It talks about the work that Ms. Yolanda and her team have been doing to address backlogs in the many, many areas that come under the corrective action plan. So I think that there's some recognition of the work that's been done. There's also a recognition of the work that still remains. And those 2 major areas would be physical deficiencies. There was some acknowledgement of the storm damage that occurred through Hurricane Ida and the work that's been done since then. And so we know that there are also some additional items that Ms. Prevost and the team are working on right now. Exterior, the fascia, the soffit work that's been completed, and then the interior deficiencies that she's continuing to address. And then, of course, finance, which we've had discussions about all of the work that needs to be done to get caught up with respect to the ongoing financials and the audit. So those were the 3 main areas that are mentioned in this letter.
You did mention that we have an interim score that's 6 points higher than the score that this letter is referring to.
Correct.
To put things into perspective, I'm hoping you can clarify a little bit of the timeline and the date and some of the stuff in this letter. Mm-hmm. So the score that this letter addresses is based on a score from May of 2023, is that correct?
That's the impression I got, and that would be the score of 18.
Okay.
Which was the initial score that placed the agency under the trouble designation.
So our designation, though it went into effect just recently, is really from a score from a year ago.
Yes.
We've
yes.
made a lot of improvement since then.
Right.
We were aware during the compliance review that a lot of this stuff was going to come up. Part of that compliance review and the corrective action plans associated thereafter have addressed some of these issues.
They have.
And then we have an interim score. Do we know the date of the interim score?
It is an April
They
date.
put April 23rd or something like that.
Of this year.
Yes.
And that's not based on an actual physical reassessment or anything.
Correct.
It's just
Correct.
based on the reports and different things that have come in. So
Right. That HUD can evaluate from their systems without coming.
So the
physically
hope
to
would
the-
be that as we continue to do these compliance things that are already in place, and as more and more information is then submitted and reviewed by HUD, and then physical assessments, et cetera, are done, our score would continue to improve. I mean, one of the big things that, and the board has known it, we were on the previous executive director for a long time about, was getting those vacant units into mod. That, I remember looking at the score, that was a huge part of the downfall of our score. I mean, that's a huge chunk.
Exactly.
So the fact that those units are now being transitioned into that, that's going to solve a tremendous, because that impacts physical score, that impacts financial score, everything.
It does.
And it
does.
reflected on the governance, because even though we're pressuring on the previous executive director to do something, when it's not done, the governance score fails.
And I'll just point out again, I'm sorry, Victoria Hines with Circular Consulting, just to reiterate that when we first started helping to put together the corrective action plan, if you will recall, we stated that it was gonna take at least a year, maybe even 2 years, to see the fruit of the work that we've been putting in with Miss Yolanda and her team. So although this may not reflect us in the best light, if you will, it is still in line with what we estimated when we first started this the latter part of last year. I don't want us to take away from the fact that a lot has been done by Miss Yolanda and her team since this corrective action plan was put into place. There has still been a lot of work, and we are still very much on track.
And just so the general public and those that may be watching this know, and not to negate the seriousness of a trouble designation. I mean, we have a lot of work to do. But we are talking about a score based on where the agency was a year ago.
Correct.
And not
Correct.
where the agency actually is
Correct.
today.
That's correct.
And so, you know, the designation happens a year after the actual assessment, and here we are. We've made great strides, in my opinion. I mean, we do have a long way to go. And I don't want to diminish the severity of it or what is left to be done, but I also want, you know, those that may be watching this meeting or those that have questions about what the agency has done, we have made significant progress since that initial scoring a year ago.
Yes,
And then
we agree.
also keep in mind that, again, like you said, Chairman, the scores from a year ago, the corrective action plan was not codified until September 2023. We are now in April. So just so that it's very clear that it's not that we've been working on this since May, this corrective action plan. We just started September of 2023.
A little over 6 months.
Right.
Yeah.
So to say that this amount of work has been done in 6 months, in a 6-month period of time is very good, very good.
Mr. Chairman, I take to heart everything you just said, and I agree literally with everything that you just said. But however, that is our current status right now.
Sure.
And again, moving forward is why we're trying to make these changes, is why we hire circular, is why we're doing a number of things as this board. But realize where we are. You just stated you understand the severity of where we are. So moving forward, we can just expect some better things to happen. So I do get it, but we do still need to do a lot better than what we're doing.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question of that. My point is just making sure that someone looking from the outside in, you see a score and you see a designation, and while it's not good and no one wants to be designated troubled, and that was legitimately where we were when we were reviewed, we have made great strides since that point.
But as much as all the strides we made, but still know that HUD looked at us as a troubled agency.
Absolutely.
That's our status. And that's what kind of bugs me. I will acknowledge everything that we've done because we've all been a part of it. But our status is our status. And
Oh,
our
absolutely. There's
status
no question of that,
Our
Mr.
status
Woods.
should be, I'll say, our motivation. So we basically agree, but we're going to acknowledge where we are and keep trucking.
Oh, I would not begin to not acknowledge where we are, but I still believe that we have to put that in perspective.
Yeah. And I would like also to provide, Commissioner Woods had asked a question about the methodology that HUD uses. So I do have a template agreement, and I can tell you how, I can just
To be
quick.
honest with you, ma'am,
It's not
don't
going to
attempt
help
to
you.
give it to
Yeah.
me this evening.
Okay,
No,
it's
no,
a
no,
matter of.
I'm not trying to draw the
it-
whole
yeah.
everything into something, but I would love to know the details that we do.
I can provide that.
Whatever,
yeah,
something,
yeah,
but yeah, but no,
yeah.
I don't need
Okay,
a big public
just- yeah,
explanation.
and I
It's
didn't-
probably just gonna be, I don't say me want to hear all those details.
Yeah, and
but
it's
generally
quite
it is.
detailed.
Yeah, so, but no, I'm not looking forward to that one. I'm
Okay.
wanting that one tonight, but I would like to
To have it, we
have
can
the
send that to you.
information though.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll send it to Ms. Yolanda and she'll distribute it
To the board.
to the board.
Thank you.
Generally, when I ask for something, particularly in public, it is for the entire board to have that information.
Yeah.
No, I just
And
wanted to.
I'm not looking for information just for
No,
myself.
absolutely.
All right, Ms. Prevost, did you have any further updates to give this evening, or?
Just, don't forget about the ethics. And I haven't heard from, besides Marilyn, who wants to go to that convention.
What,
To know before
what were
May
the,
9th.
what were the dates of that convention again?
I have to send it to you, I don't have it.
Okay. And that's in New Orleans,
Yes,
correct?
Yes.
No.
think
I
it's
still
in
may
June,
look into.
Provided I'm free, I will do that.
Okay.
I'll, get me the dates and I'll double check. I believe that I am, from what I remember, but,
Okay, no problem.
all right, any additional board discussion at this time? All right, at this time, I'm gonna open up for public comments. If anyone wishes to address the board, you may do so now. All right, seeing none, public comments is now closed. Any additional board discussion or action by the board? All right, do we wish to either adjourn or move into executive session?
Mr. Chair, I'm hoping we can move into executive session, and I would make a motion that we move into executive session to discuss personnel matters.
All right. We have a motion by Mr. Woods to move into executive session to discuss personnel matters. Do we have a second?
A second.
Ms. Jackson has seconded the motion to move into executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That carries. The time is now 6:52. The regular meeting is suspended, and we are moving into executive session.
It's hard.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Do we have a motion from the board?
A motion to adjourn,
No, back from executive session.
a motion to return from executive session.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Mr. Brouillet to return from executive session to our regular session, and it is seconded by Mr. Woods. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries. We now resume our regular meeting at 7:35. Any board discussion or action?
Mr. Chair, I move that we adjourn.
And I second.
We have a motion by Mr. Woods to adjourn, seconded by Ms. Jackson. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries. The time is now 7:36. We are adjourned.